This is Linda Willow Roberts from Enlightened Conversations. I'm so excited. I have Kalyi Amoto here as a guest. She's a psychic medium and a pranic healer. Her psychic gifts started from the age of 7. She has a BA in psychology. She's a practising artist. She's trained in pranic healing. She's lived in London and studied at psychic development, mediumship and palmistry at the College of Psychic Studies for 3 years. Since coming back to Australia, she's actually started her own school in 2014. It's the School of Psychic and Spiritual Knowledge. And I'm just so happy to have you. Hi, how are you going?
Hi, Linda. Nice to be here.
Oh, lovely. I'm glad you are. It's just a really good time to sit down and talk. You know, I'm not that knowledged, I suppose, on pranic healing.
Okay. So pranic healing is similar, I suppose, in its essence to a lot of the things people will be aware of and familiar with, like Reiki.
Yes.
I think at their essence, all the energy healings are pretty much doing the same thing. But the man who developed pranic healing decided that there was a lot of unnecessary complexity to a lot of the healing modalities. So he decided to develop a modality that was very simple. He basically stripped it right back to the bare bones, just what was necessary, and therefore it's very easy to learn and very easy to understand and use. So I really enjoy it. I really like it. I got it straight away, and probably because of its simplicity. But we still use the same energy, universal life force,
Yes.
prana.
Yeah, is it prana is life force, isn't it? I'm a Reiki master, and as much as I love Reiki, and I've been doing it for like 20 odd years, I still found it a bit. I'm like a Leo, so I'm a bit of a bulldozer. So I like to have things done and completed and go bang, bang, bang. And I found that I was leaving people mind, body and soul, bringing things up and having to deal with it. And that sort of didn't sit right with me. Sorry. So I started to do theta healing. And theta healing is a brainwave, and we can just say and release things. And of course, dealing with source energy, source will say no if somebody's got some homework to do. But I found that I wanted to help people more.
Yes. Yes, they're all very similar.
Yes.
They just have different techniques surrounding their, the technical operation of them, I think.
Yes. So you have a school in Brisbane, and that would be very exciting to be teaching. I love giving to people to help them learn and to open people's minds.
Look, it is really exciting and fun to teach. I'm running psychic and spiritual development courses, beginners and intermediate. I'm also running a palmistry course.
Yes.
For beginners, and do regular meditations. And I'm also developing an advanced course that I'll run hopefully in the first half of this year. I've got some interest from some of my the students who are intermediate students now. So yes, this is exciting.
Well, great.
For this year.
Oh, that's great. So how did you find, you've studied in London, and I've been to, I've studied for a week at Arthur Findlay College with Tony Stockwell, and you've studied for 3 years, so how was that?
Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Incidentally, I did a day-long workshop with Tony Stockwell at the college, Psychic
Yes.
College, which is in South Kensington in London, the middle of London. Oh, it was amazing. And so many fantastic teachers who are, you know, quite often really well-known celebrities themselves in the psychic spiritual arena. So I learned from the best, and it was just amazing, an amazing time.
It
Learned
is,
so
isn't it?
much. Oh, it was. I learned so much, really, and it was so enjoyable. And I met so many amazing friends and other people. Yeah, it was just an amazing time, the whole time in London, but especially at the college.
It's lovely. I always like to say to people in workshops and what have you that I'm open for people to learn from a lot of people, from everybody, because you pick the eyes out of what you need and then it morphs into what it needs to be for you. And that's what I've done, you know. So I can only talk from my experience, but when you study at other places in the world and you learn from a lot of different people, I just think that that helps you get to a place of having no limitations of thought processes to how you can heal and help people.
Definitely. You know, I took 3 subjects there. I learned psychic development, the mediumship, and the palmistry. And I'd kind of been teaching myself palmistry for quite a few years from books, but really took it to such another level.
Yes.
And mediumship, I'd never really done it formally. I knew that I could do it, but you know, it took me up so much higher to learn it formally for all that time. So I came away with, you know, greater ability and greater knowledge of what these terms meant. You know, like I had done some circles in Australia, but they never really explained what all the terms meant and what the differences were between, you know, all these different terminologies that we tend to bandy around a bit, but not really know exactly what they mean. So really, it just took me up so many different notches to study at the College of Psychic Studies in London, and it was so enjoyable too. It also helped me be more professional as well, because of course they go into professionalism and ethics, and so I became very aware of that as well. So that helped me with my to become professional, you know, rather than just amateur.
Well, you know, you're right. I've always been like a psychic and a clairvoyant. I've done certified angel intuitive courses, but I never called myself a medium. And somebody said to me one day, "Why don't you?" And I said, "Because I don't feel like I'm specialised in that area." So I actually was lucky enough to get a scholarship with Lisa Williams and study and become a certified medium with Lisa. And you're right, it does teach you, you know, the right way to connect and the integrity of it and those sorts of things, because it's easy to say you are this and you're that. And I believe when we're gifted, everybody's got it. It's just that we've worked on it and built it up like a muscle, that we've got that stronger connection. But when you actually have done the work and you become certified, that really puts you at a level that you can actually discuss it with people. You know, I'd never put myself out there prior to that as being a medium, because I thought that was something that I really needed to be certified in.
Well, I think that's right. You know, a lot of people use clairvoyant, psychic, and medium interchangeably, but they're all different things.
Yes.
You know, medium is quite a specific thing, connecting with, you know, those who've passed, basically, whereas psychic takes in a lot of other things as well that isn't necessarily that. You know, you can be a psychic without being a medium.
Yes, and like they said, it's you can't go from psychic and your clairvoyant to a medium. You have to go sort of that way back up. And You know, psychic, when we're psychic and clairvoyant, we're reading our clients' memories. And when we bring our master guide brings in a passed over person, we're actually talking to them about their memories. So
Exactly.
it's a different aspect, isn't it?
It's totally different. You know, we're connecting directly with that person who's passed, which is such a privilege and so such amazing work, you know.
Yes.
When I first started doing it, I wasn't sure. I'm sure we all go through that. Wasn't sure whether I was really connecting in. But then when I got some really specific information that there was no way you could guess, you know that you're talking directly to the person who's passed over. It's amazing.
I love their sense of humour. I've had some funny conversations with them, and they've joked and joked about things only the client would know, you know, and sometimes they've joked with me personally. We have, because I'm from Tassie, we're into the AFL football, and I don't know how many of the passed over people have come through and joked about my football team, you know, and things like that, and especially from like this Victoria and Tasmania, that's the sort of person that you would get, and that's what they're interested in, and especially males, because they love sport, don't they?
Yes, it's amazing how they still retain the personality. You know, they might be in a different energy form, but they still have the memories, the personality is still all intact. It's still all there, which really surprised me at first, but it's definitely the case, you know?
Yeah. You know what else I'm interested in that you do? Your palmistry. I've had the funniest experience with palmistry, and I'm not, and I'm not going to say I am. I'm not an expert in palmistry. Not. But I did this course like 25 years ago with this lady that covered all sorts of spiritual things, and we did a little bit of palmistry. And she said the funniest thing to me, and I've not ever had a chance to talk to somebody that does palmistry. She was actually teaching. Can I ask you? Is that all right?
Yep.
So she was actually teaching this class for 6 weeks, and each week we would do a different thing, from Reiki to crystals to palmistry and all that sort of thing, you know. And I just went along. It was an adult ed thing. And we did palmistry, and she was saying about one hand's different than the other. One is your emotions, and one is what was coming in. And I said, oh, mine are identical. And she said, no one's is identical. And I showed her, and she went, class, everybody have a look at this lady's hands. And mine was identical on both sides. And then I started thinking about that. And during the next week, I'd noticed some changes. And the following week, we went back, and she said, how was everybody's week? Did you notice any different? And I put my hand up and I said, yes, my lines had changed and cracked, and they were really itchy, and they're not the same anymore. And she said, well, you don't actually feel like the line's changing. And I said, have a look, because they were all peeling. And she said, oh, class, everybody have a look at this lady's hand. And I felt like a bit of a twit at the time, although, you know, that's what's happening. Can that happen? I mean, I've seen it. But
Can the lines change, you mean?
And can you, like, that happened to me, and I just felt it was really odd.
It's not odd. No, it's not odd at all.
Right.
The lines always change.
Do they?
The lines always change. It's part of, you know, why this is a science as well as an art, because basically the lines are basically, when I did psychology, I was shown what's called a homunculus, and it's basically a human figure with parts of the body shown in relation. Their size that they're shown in is in relation to how much of the neocortex is devoted to that part.
Right.
And the hands are the biggest part.
Really?
So a huge amount of the neocortex is devoted to the hands. And this is the basis of the science of palmistry. So as we makes sense that as we change and grow, our hands reflect that, and that's normal.
Yes.
And this is why it's so valuable. I've seen my hands change over the years quite a great deal. I used to have a very big break in my lifeline in my right hand. That has completely gone, has completely healed up. Well, I say healed, probably because a break isn't generally a good sign. So there's no break at all. Also, when I started teaching, I developed a really identifiable teacher's square
Oh, right.
underneath my identity finger, which is amazing. I knew so much about palmistry, but when I saw this happening, I thought, that's absolutely incredible.
Yes.
So it's normal. It's normal for the lines to change.
Right, that's good because, yeah, when I actually did the certified mediumship with Lisa, in this part of my hand here, I've been told it's a witch's whirl. It's circles. I don't know if that's how you refer to it, but there was a tick after I was certified. I have a tick there on my hand, and I thought, oh, I must be on the right track. I can't read it. I don't know exactly what it means, but I just felt like I must be on the right track.
Yes, a whirl down in the Mount of Luna there is often called the psychic whirl. Shows, better psychic ability than normal, and sometimes a better imagination and memory than normal as well.
Imagination I'd go with, but memory, I need help with my memory. But yeah, okay, yeah. So I find that really interesting. That's why I like having these conversations because, you're a psychologist and a psychic and a medium and and do palmistry, and so to combine your BA of psychology with all of these things, this would be so beneficial to the people that you see.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. It is. I was accepted into my honours year in psychology at UQ, but I quickly realised that I was going to have to simply replicate a very, very, very tiny bit of someone else's study over and over and over and over and over again. And I thought, I didn't really want to do this. What I wanted to do was parapsychology, which was touted in the movies. You saw the psychologists with their psychic cards and everything. Yeah. And that used to happen. But by the time I got there, that was completely ridiculed and debunked and was not part of the psychology department anymore. And you weren't even allowed to mention it for fear of being laughed off campus, ridiculed. Yeah. So I was really disappointed when I found out that. I did my 3-year undergraduate degree, finished that. And, a lot of it is very useful, extremely useful, to know about the mind and behavior. But I didn't want to really go on and do the further study because I wanted to start developing what I was meant to do on this earth, I think. And that's to combine the mainstream knowledge about the mind and behavior with my psychic abilities that I'd already demonstrated from the age of 7, as you mentioned earlier, and to link it in with deep spirituality. And this is what I've done and I'm still doing. It's probably going to be a lifetime development of this. And when I started practicing professionally in London, I really didn't know whether it was going to work. I didn't have any idea. I was just being guided by spirit, basically. And this man came to me, my first client came to me for healing with cancer. So I thought, whoa, thanks throwing me into the deep end here.
We
had
only get
no,
what we need.
I had no idea really. So I just trusted and I just went, all right. I was honest with the client and I said, you're my first client. You know, I really don't know what's going to happen here, but his uncle had seen my photo and said, Spirit's telling me that this lady can help you. So I said, okay, Spirit's guiding me as well. And using the psychology, the meditation, and the pranic healing all together, he started improving very quickly. The tumours, he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma tumours in his neck. They started getting smaller quite quickly, and I sent him to the hospital to be monitored, because I thought I want some objective monitoring here to see what's actually happening. And after a very short period of time, just weeks, the tumours started reducing. And the hospital, I said to the client, don't tell the hospital that you're having this alternative treatment, because they'll probably tell you not to do it and to have chemo. So just stay quiet about that. And the doctors were going, we don't know how this is healing itself. It's a miracle. I can't remember how long it took, maybe 10 weeks. And he was completely, it was 100% gone. And,
That's
you know,
wonderful.
8 years later, he's still 100% gone. So,
Wow.
you know, I was absolutely amazed, you know, and I felt like I'd won the lottery when he was fully healed. It was such an amazing feeling, you know, but it works. The thing is, it works. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I didn't, I'm glad I didn't go on and do further study in the psychology. I'm grateful, very, very grateful for what I know and what I learned. But I think I needed, rather than going on and specializing in that, I needed to really combine all the skills that I had into this modality.
Yeah. That's just a wonderful outcome, and it's really good that you didn't give way to the fear, because a lot of people, when we're learning things, we get the fearful, you know, and foolish. Am I full of shit? You know, I don't know how many people at workshops that are developing feel like, you know, it's not there. So good on you for not giving way to the fear. But you're right. You keep going. Like, I've watched healers. I went to John of God last year in Brazil, and to watch, and everybody heals in a different way, you know, because, you know, when I do workshops, I always say to people, at the end of the workshop, please forget everything that I've said, and they say, why? And I said, like before, you'll pick the eyes out of what you need to know, and it'll morph into what it needs to be for you. So I can remember doing a share day, with a Reiki share day, and I was being thanked. Everybody was being thanked. Thank you for your Reiki, thank you. And this lady stopped at me and she went, thank you for whatever it is you do. You know, because it just morphs into what you need it to be for you, and that's exactly what you were saying, you know. And, you know, hats off for you for helping and help heal people. I just think that's wonderful. And, you know, that's, to be in service to help people is just the best thing. I think sometimes we get more out of it than what other people do.
Look, thank you for that. And I think we do. I think we at least get the same amount, because I can feel, I always ask Spirit to come in to every healing, of course, and I can kind of hear them. It's like a choir singing with great harmonies. This is how I know that they're working on the person. But if I need it, I can also feel it on me. Like the other day, I was doing healing just yesterday, and I started getting really hot, really, really hot. And it wasn't a hot day, and I was really, it was like, I don't know, my temperature was rising and rising, and I was sweating. I was thinking, oh, you know, I hope I'm all right. And suddenly it's like they picked up, gathered all this energy that I didn't need, like old energy that I didn't need, and they threw it into the candle flame, and I just felt it all. It was like, wow! And instantly I was back to normal temperature, and I thought, wow, you know, I've just had a massive healing myself while I'm
Yes.
doing this healing, and since then, I felt so much joy. I've been feeling more joyful as the years have gone on, but just from yesterday, there's something I can feel has lightened and changed, and I just feel lighter, much more joyful with everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yes, we get a great deal out of this work. It's a great privilege to do it, and it's exciting that so many people now seem to be turning to this work and turning to, like you say, amalgamating the talents and the skills that they have into a unique kind of modality that they can use. It's like they're expressing spirit through themselves in a very unique way. I find this really exciting. It's a really exciting movement. I'm really
Kalyi,
happy to be part of it.
true. Like how many, like Spirit doesn't need another me. I will get the people that I need to get, that I can help, and as do you. And so to be such like so many individuals in a world, then they need all sorts of different people and at different levels, because not everybody is at the same level. And not everybody that I talk to will understand what I'm saying, and so forth and so forth. So I just think it's wonderful how we just are opening, and more and more and more. And I just love the fact that the younger generations, and I'm 52, I'm not going to put you in that category, but like the younger generations are opening a lot earlier than I did. You know, back when I was opening, I had difficulty finding people as spiritual teachers. So I sort of was floundering a lot more, and not had a lot of people to guide me. But now they're learning at a much younger age, and there's more people that can help them. I just think that's wonderful.
It is wonderful. We're the same age, by the way. Just
Oh, are
realised.
we? Sorry,
Yes.
I thought you were younger.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Eckhart Tolle says something along those lines, that when the most well-known Buddha was on the earth, the one who sat under the Bodhi tree for 6 years, there was very few people who were awakening at that time. Now there's a huge flourishing of people who are awakening even to these really deep wisdoms. I've had conversations with people who, you just wouldn't even guess that they would know, but really in-depth conversations with all different types of people now. So it's an amazing time. It's an amazing time. Everybody has access to this knowledge now if they wish to learn, and it's like the energies are so much they've changed, so it's so much easier to understand it. It's amazing.
It is, isn't it? I think it is. With theta healing, I absolutely love that. Really capped off everything that I've ever learned. I'm still learning. I learn every day. I learn from you. Like everybody we talk to, we learn from.
Definitely.
You just get to a point that something that you do, a modality that you do, ties it all together. And I found for me, theta healing was the thing that tied it all together for me, and pushed me out there. What out of all the modalities did you find that did anything do that for you? Did it it was the last piece to your puzzle?
Well, it would have to be the Pranic Healing, because I had dabbled around with kinesiology, with Reiki, And while I have respect for those modalities,
Yes.
I just didn't feel I was very good at them, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a friend who's great at the muscle testing with kinesiology, and I understood all the pathways, and, you know, there's a lot to it. But I couldn't do it myself. I just couldn't quite get the muscle testing right. And same with Reiki. I never really linked into the symbols and all this kind of stuff that was there. But I have respect for them. But when I did the pranic healing, it was just instant. It was just, I just instantly got it, and I knew that this was something I could include in my practice and meld it in with all these other things that I was doing seamlessly. So yes, you've got to look around for what resonates with you personally.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with these other ones, but just resonates with you personally. And same with teachers. You know, this is why there's so many different teachers around, because somebody may say something in a slightly different way that just resonates and reaches someone better than someone else does, but it's to do with that person's vibration.
So true, you know. Yeah, that's exactly right. You could speak to, well, I've done, last year I did a tour with 2 other mediums, and we did 3 shows in New Zealand, and and so we bring through passed over people. It was basically a Q&A. So we do the show, and the audience would ask us, and then I would answer, or whoever was going first would answer, then a different person, then the next person, because out of the 3 of us, and we all speak, talk, have different energies, they would hear what the messages were. And I really like the aspect of giving people alternatives. Like, we have to show up. They have to be able to find us, and we have to be, you know, be there for them to get to us. But having a lot of different people for the public to hear and learn from, I just think is just the best thing. Technology and what we can do today, and to be out there and be accessible, is just wonderful.
It is. And all this knowledge that in the past has been, was classed as secret knowledge. A lot of the indigenous cultures knew a lot of this spiritual wisdom and how energy worked, but they would only pass it on to usually the boys and not the general public. There was a certain amount of people who were chosen, and they would know this knowledge.
Yes.
And nobody else. But now a lot of the current great teachers are saying, let's not have this secret knowledge anymore. A lot of the indigenous cultures are the same. It's like, we don't want this knowledge to be lost, to die. So anybody who's willing to learn it, yes, we're going to teach. And people like Greg Braden, people like Drunvalo Melchizedek actively go and are taught all the indigenous ancient secrets, and now they're teaching these secrets to anybody who is willing to learn. So, you know, it's a really amazing time in our human history.
We're evolving, aren't we? I mean, when I did my Reiki 1 25 years ago, we weren't even allowed to share, you know, and the other Reiki, share the symbols. You know, that was just, it was like, you have to keep them. If you haven't been open to that and had your attunement, then you can't pass on those symbols to other people. And so now you can access them on the internet and Google. And I sort of thought, you know, I actually thought about it. I thought, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? But, you know, spirit, I'm talking about spirit. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? They will do with it whatever they want to do with it, and they will guide the person for their highest good. So Yeah, I really think it's a good idea. And to pass
I
it on,
agree.
and to have teachers to just so we don't lose that knowledge.
Definitely. It has to not just be lost, but it has to flourish. And like you said, it's helping us evolve now.
Yeah.
We really need very, very desperately to evolve up now, because things are, we're at a crossroads, definitely. I did a 5-day retreat with Drunvalo Melchizedek in Arizona in
Sedona?
2000. Yes, Sedona.
Lucky you.
Oh, it was one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life.
Yes.
And of course, you may know that he wrote the books, the Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1 and 2.
Yep.
And I wear the Flower of Life around my neck all the time because it's such a deep symbol. Apparently it contains all the systems of life, not just in our solar system, but, in an immense, range, I suppose. And he said that in ancient times, even if you saw this symbol, you had to be killed.
Oh, really?
Yes. Whereas now, everyone is knowing about it. So many people are seeing it, and it resonates with them, and they're downloading it and putting it on their phone, or on their computer screensaver, or wearing it. And I think, actually, I'm not sure of this, but I have a feeling that if you look at it deeply, you will actually evolve simply from contemplating this symbol and all the symbols that come out of it.
Yes. I went to Egypt last year, and it's actually a flower of life in Abydos, and it's the oldest recorded flower of life, I think, in the world. I think that's how it goes. I went with an Egyptologist from Brisbane, and she's also studied Egyptian mysticism. And it's so powerful. I'm doing a project at the moment, and one of the things on what I'm doing has the flower of life. And it has, we talk about Metatron's cube, and all the geometric shapes all are formed from the flower of life. And it's just, it's, we can access it's, and I just love this stuff. I mean, we all come back to past lives, like theta, we deal in past lives, and we can deal with our ancestry and witch things and Vikings and magician things, and then you've got all the ancient knowledge from Egypt. And just as you travel around the sacred sites, I don't know if you found this in Arizona, but I've been in Stonehenge. I would presume you would be because you lived in London, and been to Egypt and different places. You seem to break through that glass ceiling when you go to these sacred sites, and the next layer of your spiritual evolvement or evolution, it sort of happens when you go to these sacred sites, and you pick up all of these. I suppose it's in your blueprint, in your soul blueprint of what you've brought through. Have you been to Stonehenge, 1? And 2, did you find that at Arizona, at Sedona?
Look, I totally agree with what you're saying. I've been fortunate enough, very, very lucky, to have been to many, many sites around the world. Yeah. Stonehenge, crop circles, which had amazing energy in them. Egypt, all around Cairo and Luxor, all those temples. And I didn't actually see the Flower of Life. I know the one you're talking about.
Yes.
Because Drunvalo showed it to us in his talk. He showed us a picture of it, and it seems to be like laser etched. It's so perfect. Is that the one you saw?
It's at Abydos, and I think it's the one that's down where Osiris. part of Sirius's body was taken apart, and part of I'm not sure whether it was his backbone or something was there. So yes, it is lovely.
Is it the one that, because they're all over the place, you know, in all
This
ancient sites, but this one,
the particular one, yes.
did it look like it was very precisely etched into the stone, that one?
They're all, yes, and you could see the indent, yes, yes. But they're
It's
all
amazing.
all their hieroglyphics and things like that are all perfect, you know. And it's we went down, we flew down to Aswan and then went out 4 hours to Dendra to the Hathor goddess Hathor, and that was just amazing in itself. But just to see the knowledge that they had, and you know, we were shown the helicopter and the submarine that everybody knows, you know, that was put there 2,500 years ago, you know, and just to see all the symbols and things that they have is just amazing. So when you're in Sedona, so you were at the vortexes?
I was, before I say that though, just to finish up on the Egypt, I
Yes.
was really impressed when we went to the Valley of the King and Queens,
Yes.
and because it hadn't been exposed to light, the paintings on the walls and the ceilings looked like they'd been painted last week. You know, the vibrancy of the colours and the perfection was absolutely astounding. You know, I was so blown away by all of that. Yeah, amazing. Yes, when I went to Sedona, we did, you know, I quickly kind of met this group of friends. We seemed to coalesce together. And so after the lectures each day, we would go to the vortexes in the rocks there and lie on the rocks and experience that amazing energy for hours and hours, way into the night, and talk and just experience how rejuvenating that energy was. I'd love to go back to Sedona at some stage, but you know, it had been a lifetime wish of mine to go there. And when I came across Drumvalo and saw that he was doing the retreat there, I just had to go, and it was I definitely had Spirit's help to get there.
Yes.
Basically, I just had to go, and so when I first saw Drumvalo's courses, they said it was actually full up, and they said, look, just apply anyway and we'll get you in. And they did. And yeah, that's an amazing story in itself. But you know, great opportunity to go and be, when you're actually in these areas and you're actually experiencing it firsthand. I'm sure that it does add to our evolution.
Oh, I think so too. I'm hoping to go to Sedona later in the year. So I have got, my sister has a friend who's invited us, and she lives there. And that, you know, that I'd like to go to Mount Shasta, and I'd like to go to Sedona. I'm a bit excited. The trip that I'm doing to Scotland, we're going out to the Orkney Islands, so we're going out to the Ring of Bognor and Skara Brae and those sorts of places, and they are way older than the pyramids. So who knows what's going to happen? So, you know, it's sometimes when you're planning trips and planning go places, you really need to sort of let Spirit, with the synchronicity, get you to where you need to go, don't you? So obviously, obviously you needed to go to Arizona.
Yes, definitely. And you mentioned Scotland. I also went, it was something I'd wanted to do, to go to Findhorn up in...
I don't know that.
It's like one of, I think it was the first kind of spiritual community that was set up, that's still going. It's what the oldest, yeah. And so I'd heard about it here in Brisbane, and I really wanted to go. But as soon as I got to London, I realized that there was Gangaji was doing a retreat, 3-day retreat up there. So that's one of the first things I did when I got to London. I just thought, I love Gangaji, I love Findhorn. They're both going to be in the same place. So I quickly zoomed up there, and that was, that was another life-changing thing that I did. So yeah, when you're there, be sure to check out Findhorn, because it really is an amazing community.
Now you've said that, thank you. Maybe that's why that discussion came up, Sometimes I think that we're just having a lovely conversation. Other times a message will come in and you'll go, thank you, Spirit. So thank you. Thank you, Cal.
What were the places called that you were going to see there? Those ancient places?
On the Orkney Islands, so Skara Brae and the Ring of Bognor. So they're very, I think 5,000 years old.
I didn't know about those when I was there. I wish I had.
Well,
still, one day.
And then we're going over to, we're just staying in Inverness and then going over to the Isle of Skye. So I've absolutely loved talking to you, because it's really, really good. But can we go back and talk about the pranic healing?
Okay.
Because I really am interested in it, and I probably haven't experienced it myself, as in I've not had somebody healing me or using that technique on me. So how does it work? What do you do? I know we tap into the source energy for any healing that we do, but what happens, and what do we do, and what do we feel?
Okay. Well, firstly, it's a no-touch method.
Yes.
Which I found very useful for especially treating men, because then it's, you're very professional, you're standing from a distance, which I really like. So basically you're you link in with spirit first through pranic breathing, which is an ancient technique. Raise your vibration as high as you can before you start. And then you do a technique that's called sweeping. So you're sweeping away any diseased energy, any used up energy from the aura, from the chakras, from the body. And then you intentionally funnel the life force energy through your palm chakras, in through one palm, and then direct it out to the client with the other palm.
Right.
And I always get directed by spirit what colours to use, how much, and then you do the sweeping again. It's like a cleansing again of any used up disease energy they don't need, and then you seal in all the energy that you've just put there, so it doesn't leak out. That's it in very potted form, but it's highly effective and very, very simple. Very simple. It takes a little bit to learn about the colours, I suppose. That's probably the most in-depth part of it. Also, if people don't know about chakras, you have to learn about that. I knew a little bit already about that. But yeah, certain colours for certain healings was quite unique to pranic healing, because colour is something that is used in a very idiosyncratic way depending on who you're talking to, which modality, which teacher, which system. So this has a different colour system than other systems.
Other modalities.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I've used colour, a little bit of colour therapy, I suppose, with the chakras. And when I've done workshops, we've talked about what colours and what you know, what techniques and what you can do with colours and things like that. So that would work hand in hand, really. We have access to everything, whether it's sound, colours, animals, musical instruments, whatever it is. We really have access to all of it to help heal us. And I think that's what's finally coming across. So do the colours that you use for healing, do they go along the lines of the chakras and the angels? Like Raphael is green, so he's a healing angel, and our heart chakra is green. So is that something that you would use a green for?
Well, like I say, a lot of systems have different colours for different things. Like I had a partner a couple of years ago who was very into the Kabbalah, for example, and they use different colours for the different chakras.
Yeah.
So colour is quite a fluid thing. It doesn't have to mean that one colour has to mean what you're taught in one system. I think intention is very important. If you have an intention to do something healing using this color, then as long as you're conscious with that intention, I think that color will work. So when I heal, I mentally say in my mind, I'll say, this color for this color for that, this is what's happening now here, with Spirit's help. Yeah, so it's really interesting. I even use colors, I suppose, that are not in the pranic healing system. I just use them because Spirit sometimes say, put all this pink here, and that's not really a color that you're supposed to use. So, I use the basis, I suppose, of what I've learned in pranic healing, psychology, meditation, but I feel free to, with Spirit's help, to morph things and use things in a different way if I feel it's right.
You feel that's what's needed. Well, that's the best way to work with Spirit, isn't it? They'll soon tell you something if something's needed. I've really found talking to you interesting, but I want you to just share for a minute where you can be contacted, what you do, what you've got coming up, so that if anybody's watching, that they know how to contact you, where to get you, where to check your website out, Facebook page, Instagram. So can you make us aware of where you can be contacted and what you've got coming up, please?
Okay. Well, I have a Facebook page for my school, the School of Psychic and Spiritual Knowledge, or SPSK for short. I also have a website, that the school's name. I think it's psychicspiritualschool.com. Yes, that's how you can access the website. Also, Kalyi Amoto is a very unusual name. I think I may be the only one in the world. So if people want to look me up on Facebook using my name, very easy to access me that way. Yeah, any of those three methods. And what I have coming up, I suppose I mentioned earlier that I do run psychic and spiritual development courses, palmistry courses. I do healing sessions for people. I also do psychic reading, professional psychic reading. I've read at the London Mind, Body, Spirit, the one here, and hundreds of private clients now. And I'm also developing this advanced course that I will be running at some time the first half of this year. So this is for people who've already on the path. You have to know quite a bit already to do that advanced course, but that will be very, hopefully very, very beneficial for people's evolving.
Yes, and moving forward. So where can they find you in Australia? Where are you located?
I'm located in Brisbane. If people want to come and see me face to face, but I also do Skype healings, readings. The healings work because, as you know, energy travels instantaneously without geographical or physical barriers. So energy healing works on Skype just as well as being in the same room with someone.
Yeah, we can do it remotely. It's really not us. I always say to everybody, like, I used to call myself a tool, but I don't anymore. I was just a tool for spirit. But I'm a conduit. We're conduits for spirit. And we can just, if they want us to heal somebody, we can heal anybody really anywhere, can't we? And they just give us the energy. I found in a few workshops and speaking engagements that I was doing that I actually started practicing sending the healing out, not through me, but getting source to send the healing out so that I could do a numerous amount of people at a time. And I really liked that it wasn't coming through me, it was just coming straight from source to them. So it's a great thing that you do, and thank you very much for your time. Do you have a phone number that we can contact you at?
Yes, it's 0448 492 237.
That is absolutely wonderful. Kalyi. I went to say it and I thought, that's not going to be right. You know, I think that's okay because you've seen my heart now, and so you know that I just don't pronounce things very well, so I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you very much for joining me. I love talking to you, love listening to what you do, love talking to you about the experiences that you've had, and just I hope the best for you, and keep doing what you're doing and keep helping people.
Thanks, Linda. It was really great talking with you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.